In my review of this game, I gave out a few pointers for those starting out. This is a more comprehensive explanation of how this game works. The old Koei titles can be daunting at first glance, but they're not as complicated as they first appear. Most of what you see right now is just there for your convenience, so you can tell everything that's going on at a glance. This icon represents the amount of gold you have in the province, and this icon represents how much food you have. These are the two most important numbers in the game. If you run out of food, or gold, your men will start deserting en masse, and if you don't have money to pay your generals each turn, their loyalty will start dropping. This icon represents how much the people like you. If it's below 40, they won't pay you taxes. This number can be increased by giving your people food. Usually, when you're just starting out the game, you hunt for food, and then you give that food to the people in order to win their support and collect taxes. Your ability to recruit stronger heroes and getting the Imperial Edict are tied directly to how many provinces you have the people supported. If you leave a province with no one in it, then this stat falls to 0. These three icons represent how developed your province is. This icon represents flood control. Having good flood control means that if there's a typhoon, your province will take less damage. This icon represents your farm fields. The higher it is, the more food you'll get come tax time. And this icon represents your province's wealth. The higher it is, the more gold you'll get come tax time. These numbers can be improved through the service command. This icon represents how many generals you have. And this icon represents how many soldiers you have. You can give your generals gold in order to increase their loyalty. If their loyalty falls too low, they may desert you. When you get one of your generals' loyalty high enough, at about 100, you'll be able to swear eternal brotherhood with them. Once you've sworn eternal brotherhood with someone, their loyalty will never drop. And if you put them in control of another province, you'll have direct control of that province. Whereas any province that you don't have a sworn brother in, the machine will just automatically decide what your turns are for that province, and may not do the best job running things. If there are any free generals to recruit in town, they'll be represented by this. You can go into town by selecting the travel command, and you can go ahead and try to recruit them. The town is also where you'll find the market. And if your province has a weaponsmith or a shipyard, you'll be able to buy weapons and ships there as well. This icon represents how much training your men have, and this icon represents their arms and armor. At this point, you know enough to play the game. The battlefield combat is fairly straightforward. The only nuance that's a little bit strange is that if you have a general capable of magic, they can only use it during cloudy weather. I have no idea why this is. It just is. You're probably wondering what those other icons represent, so I'll go ahead and go over those real quick. This icon represents how many castles are in your province. For every castle that you can have 5 more generals and 500 more men. Thus, the number of castles in a province is directly proportional to the size of the army that it can field. This icon represents metal. The only use for metal is for forging weapons, if you happen to have a hero capable of forging weapons. Unfortunately, the only way I've ever found to acquire metal is to solicit for it. This icon represents fur, which does absolutely nothing. You can hunt for fur, or you can buy and sell fur at the market. It doesn't do anything. This icon represents the market rate. It represents the prices at the market. In other Koei titles, watching the market rate was really important, as it could fluctuate greatly. In Bandit Kings of Ancient China, not so much. You can pretty much just ignore this the entire game. If your province has an armorer in it, this icon will represent that. If your province has a shipyard, this icon will represent that. If this icon appears, it means that there's been heavy snows and that all the roads are impassable. And if this icon appears, it means that there are wild beasts terrorizing your people. It will show you what kind of beast and how many. I hope that my tutorial helped you out, and that you enjoy Bandit Kings as much as I have.